The conference hall of the Galactic Coalition's flagship Nexus Prime hummed with the collective arrogance of 1,000 civilizations. Holographic displays flickered across crystalline walls, showcasing weapons of devastating beauty, plasma rifles that could vaporize mountains, molecular disruptors that unmade matter at the quantum level, and graviton cannons capable of collapsing stars. And then there was Lisa's bow. The human delegate stood at her station, a simple recurve bow of laminated wood and carbon fiber resting against her shoulder. Her dark hair was tied back in a practical braid, and her gray eyes scanned the room with the patience of someone who had heard every joke before. "Behold," announced Commander Zarketh, the Krillian War Master whose exoskeleton gleamed like polished obsidian. His forearms gestured dramatically toward his people's contribution, a weapon that bent spacetime itself. "This is the Void Render. It creates micro-singularities that consume entire battalions. This is what separates the apex species from." He paused, his mandibles clicking in what passed for Krillian laughter, the primitives. The insult was clear. Every delegate in the hall turned to look at Lisa. Laura, the human military advisor and Lisa's mission partner, tensed beside her. His hand moved instinctively toward the sidearm at his hip, a gesture that didn't go unnoticed. Several alien delegates' translation devices chirped with amusement. "Easy," Lisa murmured, her voice barely audible. "Let them laugh." The Vrexian ambassador, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulsed with colors that translated to mockery. "The humans bring a stick with string to a demonstration of galactic military might. How? Quaint. Tell me, Lisa of Earth, do you also bring rocks and sharp sticks?" Laughter rippled through the hall, a cacophony of chirps, growls, harmonic tones, and sounds that human ears couldn't properly categorize. Laura's jaw clenched. He'd been a Marine before joining the diplomatic corps, and his instincts screamed at him to defend his partner, his species, their honor. But Lisa's hand touched his arm gently. "Watch," she whispered. The tournament would begin in an hour. Each species would demonstrate their weapon against combat drones designed to simulate the galaxy's most dangerous predators. The scoring was simple: speed, accuracy, efficiency, and, most importantly, the ability to stop a charging threat before it reached the firing line 20 meters away. As the delegates dispersed to prepare, Laura cornered Lisa in the human quarters. The room was sparse compared to the luxurious accommodations of other species. Humans were still newcomers to the galactic stage, their budget limited, their reputation unproven. "They're going to humiliate us," Laura said, packing. "You saw the Krillian weapon. You saw what the Theshan hive mind can do with their neural-linked artillery. And you brought a bow, Lisa. A bow that our ancestors stopped using militarily hundreds of years ago." Lisa sat cross-legged on her bunk, the bow across her lap. Her fingers traced the curves of the wood with something approaching reverence. "Tell me, Laura, what do you know about predator instincts?" He stopped packing, confused by the question. "What?" Every species in that hall evolved as either predator or prey. Even the energy beings, the hive minds, the silicon-based life forms, all have deep, genetic responses to threats. The Krillians, apex predators on a death world where everything had armor and venom. The Vrexians, they evolved from pack hunters that used electrical discharges to stun prey. "What's your point?" Lisa stood, knocking an arrow with practiced ease. The motion was fluid, almost meditative. "My point is that there's a difference between being afraid of a weapon and being afraid of a predator. Modern weapons are terrifying because of what they can do, but ancient weapons—" She drew the bowstring back, the wood creaking with stored energy. "Ancient weapons are terrifying because of what they represent." Laura shook his head. "You've lost me." "You'll see," Lisa said, smiling faintly. "Trust me." The arena was a massive space, its walls reinforced with energy shields that could withstand planetary bombardment. The first dozen demonstrations were predictable displays of overwhelming firepower. The Krillian Voidrender did indeed consume everything in its path. The Thessian artillery system coordinated across 17 mines to create a kill zone that nothing could survive. The Bortak demonstrated a weapon that didn't just kill targets, it erased them from ever having existed, creating temporal paradoxes that made the human delegates' heads ache. Then it was Lisa's turn. She walked into the arena alone, carrying only her bow and a quiver of 20 arrows. The crowd's jeering was immediate and cruel. "Perhaps she intends to annoy the drones to death," someone called out. "I've seen human children with more threatening toys." Laura watched from the human delegation box, his stomach tight with anxiety. He'd served in combat zones across 3 planets. He'd seen what modern warfare looked like, and he couldn't shake the feeling that Lisa was about to become a galactic joke that would haunt humanity for generations. The arena master, a neutral AI with no stake in the competition, announced the parameters. "Contestant Lisa of Earth, designation, human. You will face 7 combat drones, each programmed with the predatory patterns of the galaxy's most dangerous species. They will advance on your position at increasing speeds. You have 60 seconds. Begin when ready." Lisa took her position at the firing line. She didn't adopt a fancy stance or make any dramatic gestures. She simply stood, bow in hand, and waited. The first drone activated, a simulation of a Krillian shock trooper, all armor and rage, charging at inhuman speed. Lisa's first arrow was in the air before the crowd even realized she'd moved. The arrow took the drone through its optical sensor, the one weak point in its armor. But it wasn't the accuracy that made Commander Zarkith's mandibles freeze mid-click. It was the sound. The whisper of the bowstring, the whistle of the arrow cutting air, the meaty thunk as it found its target. Primal, ancient, predatory. The second drone launched, a Vrexian pattern trying to flank. Lisa pivoted, drew, released. Another perfect shot. But more than that, the movement was smooth, practiced, the result of 10,000 hours of training written into muscle memory. There was no hesitation, no wasted motion. The third and fourth drones came together. 2 arrows, 2 heartbeats, 2 kills. The crowd had gone silent. Laura felt it then, felt what Lisa had tried to explain. Every predator species in that hall was experiencing something their technology had made them forget. The recognition of another apex predator. Not because of the weapon's power, but because of what the weapon revealed about the wielder. The bow required strength, human strength, which the galaxy was only beginning to understand. Humans came from a death world with crushing gravity, where persistence, hunting, and endurance had created a species that could chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. The bow required precision, the kind that came from binocular vision, evolved for throwing weapons with lethal accuracy across vast distances. The bow required patience, the ability to wait, to breathe, to release at the exact perfect moment when muscle and mind aligned. And most terrifying of all, the bow was silent until the moment of release. Every other weapon in the competition announced itself with energy signatures, heat blooms, electromagnetic fields. Lisa's bow gave no warning until the arrow was already in flight. The fifth drone, programmed with the patterns of an ambush predator, tried to use the arena's cover. Lisa's arrow punched through 3 centimeters of composite armor to reach the power core. The sixth drone attempted aerial assault. Lisa's arrow arced upward with calculations that her brain performed faster than most species targeting computers, intercepting it mid-flight. The seventh drone, learning from its predecessor's failures, deployed countermeasures. Smoke screens, chaff, electromagnetic interference. Lisa closed her eyes. Laura's heart stopped. What was she doing? Then he understood. Every other species in the galaxy relied on technology, on sensors, on enhanced perception. But humans had hunted in the dark, in the fog, in conditions where sight was useless. Lisa wasn't using her eyes. She was listening. The arrow flew through the smoke, guided by the sound of the drone's power core, the subtle displacement of air, the ancient predator instinct that knew exactly where her prey was hiding. 7 drones, 7 arrows, 43 seconds. The silence in the arena was absolute. Lisa lowered her bow and turned to face the crowd. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply met their eyes, each delegate, each ambassador, each war master, and let them see what humanity had brought to the galactic stage. Not the most advanced technology, not the most devastating firepower, but the most dangerous thing in the universe, a predator that didn't need technology to kill. Commander Zarkith was the first to speak, his translator struggling with the emotion in his voice. I formally withdraw my earlier mockery. Humans are, you are hunters. The Vrexian ambassador's crystalline form pulsed with colors that translated to respect, and yes, primal fear. Your weapon is not primitive. It is perfected, refined across millennia to be an extension of the predator who wields it. Laura realized he'd been holding his breath. As Lisa walked out of the arena, he met her at the entrance. "How did you know?" he asked. Lisa shrugged, slinging her bow across her back. "Because they're all predators too, Laura, and predators recognize other predators, not by their tools but by their instincts. They looked at my bow and saw a primitive weapon, but when they watched me use it, their oldest instincts woke up and screamed the truth. That's a real threat." As they walked back to their quarters, Laura noticed something he'd missed before. Every alien delegate they passed moved subtly out of Lisa's way, not with the deference shown to superior technology, but with something more fundamental. The respect one apex predator gives to another. And in the vast darkness of space, humanity had just announced its arrival to the galaxy, not with a bang, but with the whisper of a bowstring and the ancient, terrifying promise it carried. "We are hunters. We have always been hunters, and we do not need your technology to prove it." End.